World Michael Zerafa. Look, you know, Anthony Mundine at this stage so far. Oh, he got caught there. And
here comes Zerafa opening up now on Mundine. Mundine up against the ropes. Goes down. Goes down, Anthony Mundine.
This is more or less what I expected, to be honest, because I didn't want Choc to take this fight, but he insisted he was going to win it. But time beats all.
Nasus making Mundine do a bit of a test to check that he's okay to continue. Zerafa gets on the front foot again, lines up that jab, gets the jab probing down to the body.
Minute of round one.
Minute to go. Mundine needs to be mobile. Oh, weaves under that right hook. Nice. All over on that. Down he flips Mundine. Down he goes. On that M Group logo, it is all over. Oh, weaves under that right. Who is next? Forward. Zerafa clips Mundine with that right hand, but it was on the spot. It was where the punch needed to be to send Mundine down. He did the business, down to the body, up to the head, changing levels.
Yep, on the side of the temple.
And just totally overwhelmed Anthony Mundine.
Big J, you there?
Yeah, mate.
All right. We knew this was going to happen, and this is why people didn't want the fight to happen. However, I'm glad to see that. Well, I guess you're going to tell me, because I'm going to tell you guys right now. I didn't get a chance to watch the fight in real time here in the States because it wasn't available here in the States. Nobody really gave a shit about this fight, and a lot of people felt that this fight shouldn't happen. Anthony Mundine, 45 years old. Mike Zerafa is 28 years old, 27-4 with 16 KOs. You can say he's in his prime. Anthony Mundine, his last fight of significance. What was the last fight he looked good against? I mean, good, like really good in, you would say, Big J?
Sergio Ranchenko would probably be the last. That's his last decent win. I mean, yeah, he knocked out Tommy Brown in 2 rounds, but Tommy Brown was, is not anything of, real caliber. I mean, he's nothing. He's never going to be able to win a world title, of significant one. But yeah, Sergio Ranchenko not in 2014 was Mundine's last time he looked really like like he could really be a world contender. But yeah, he hasn't been decent since that fight.
So, I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is Big J with FightView360.com. We cover every single major fight live. Please take your time out and like and subscribe. It is early. This is normal for Australian boxing. As what time is it over there right now, Jay?
Oh, fucking 11:15.
But so with 7:19 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Anthony Mundine has been knocked out in round 1 by Michael Zerafa. And as you can see right here, we're going to go through it one more time. It was pretty, put it this way, it could have been worse. He wasn't asleep. He just, as you can see, he didn't have no legs under him. And age, fatigue, I mean, just reflexes.
Needed to be to send Mundine down. He did the
Choc hit him maybe 5 times the entire fight, and not one of those punches, were any damage. So,
business down to the body, up to the head, changing levels.
Yep, on the.
Like, look at the way he's falling, like his legs just...
And just totally overwhelmed Anthony Mundine, Michael Zerafa, with pressure, technique, and aggression.
I'm glad the referee, was like, all right, that's it. The referee saw what it was. Some referees would have been, okay, well, you know what, Choc, we're going to let you go because, we're going to let you... But no, I'm glad he could have got hurt. And...
Full credit to the referee who stopped that fight exactly when he should have. So, people could have argued he probably could have stopped the first knockdown, but you gave him a chance. So he did. Full credit to the referee. He did the right thing. He protected Choc, and yeah.
So for those who are going to ask, remind fans why this fight took place in the first place. Briefly. From your time talking to Jake Ellis, if you can explain who he is, and Michael Zerafa himself. You talked to him multiple times.
Yeah, well, basically, Jake Ellis runs Team Ellis Boxing Gym. Jake Ellis is a legend's son, and Lester Ellis, who was during the heyday of the 80s, one of the best boxers Australia's ever produced. He runs his gym out, I think, the northern suburbs of Melbourne. Mick recently switched teams and went to Team Ellis to train. That's where Mick Zerafa trains. Those two have been mates for many years. And basically, Mundine called out Zerafa. They met at a charity auction, I think, around February of last year. They were appearing on a charity auction. I think a charity event with those two and Billy Dibb and someone else, I can't remember. And that's where it all started. It started outside the event and Choc calling him out and saying he's going to knock him out, blah, 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 blah. And that's where it all started, about February of last year. And due to COVID, it took right up until now to finish. So, yeah. It was a long time coming, and we're finally glad it's over because now Choc can just finally go home.
And for clarification, who is Jake Ellis to Mick Zerafa?
He runs the Team Ellis, the gym, where Mick Zerafa trains.
Okay, so, and Lester Ellis is Jake Ellis's father. And just so happened, I have it pulled up on BoxRec, Lester Ellis was knocked out in the third round or stopped in the third round in 2002 by Anthony Mundine. So,
correct.
So basically, it's some bad blood there, you know. And now, Jake Ellis, through Mick Zerafa, has gotten revenge. And of course, this is Big J who told me this story. Let me in on this revenge for Anthony Mundine knocking out his father. Crazy how that works. So
to a certain extent. To a certain extent.
What do you mean?
Well, it was more like, getting one back for his father. Yeah, getting one back for his father is the way that I put it to him when we spoke about close to a year ago now. Been a while since I've talked to him. So, but yeah, it was a Mick Zerafa. The opportunity was presented to Mick Zerafa, and he took it. So, fair enough. So it's all past us now. We can move on.
So before we talk about what's next for Mick Zerafa overall, let's go through the undercard and your thoughts on the event as a whole.
The event as a whole.
Okay, so let me do it. Okay, so let's do it this way. Let's start with the co-feature. Shanika Johnson, 13-0, versus Shannon O'Connell. How did that go?
Fight of the night, definitely. Shannon got up with a split decision. Two judges 97-93, one judge 96-94. I'd have to disagree with that. I thought it was a lot closer than that. I thought Shannon only won it by 1 point. I would have said 96-95. Definitely the fight of the night. But not a barn burner, but a clinical, a really good scrap for a women's fight. But these 2-minute rounds are killing women's boxing because by the time they get into it, the bell rings and it finishes.
I completely 100% agree.
Shannon clipped Shanika in the 9th round, could have finished her off, and ding, similar to the Krisha Shields fight. There was plenty of times in there where Krisha could have finished it off, but her opponent was saved by the bell, and it's killing women's boxing. It really is.
So this was considered. So this was, even though Shannon O'Connell is the veteran, this was considered an upset.
To a certain extent, yeah. A lot of people thought that Shanika would have got up because she's a lot younger. But to Shannon's credit, it looked like I think it was about round 2 or 3 that I thought Shanika's going to get away with this because she was outboxing and outdoing Shannon. But to her credit, she came back and it was a good victory for Shannon. It was so close to call. I mean, if you gave it a draw, no one would have been upset. It was so close. So close. It was a good scrap. They'll most likely have a rematch. But yeah, very, very close fight and easily the fight of the night.
Okay. Now, going on to the next fight, which is Blake Caparello versus a Ferris Chevalier. 11-1 with 7 KOs. This man got okay. Tell us about the fight first, while I'm pulling up the rankings for the 175-pound division.
Fight was pretty meh. It wasn't great.
How long did it go? The BoxRec hasn't updated yet. They're probably still asleep. So what round did it end in?
No, it did. It went the full distance.
Okay.
He got the decision, unanimous decision. I think all 3 cards scored at 97-93, which it was a bit of a clear victory for what's his name, France?
Chevalier. Let's just call him Ferris.
Chevalier. Yeah, Ferris. That's it. Yeah, it was a clear victory for Ferris. Blake did not look good in there. I understand ring rust, but hey, he's coming up against a bloke who's had 5 years off and never fought at light heavyweight in his life. Blake looked. Yeah, Blake looked terrible in there. He really did.
He's a 168 pound, a 168 pounder. According to BoxRec, he is a 168 pounder, but he was campaigning at 100 and 100. He has weighed in. Yeah, he has weighed in at 175, but he's primarily been campaigning at 168, and he hasn't fought since September the 10th of 2016, and he comes in and upsets a Blake Caparello, who is ranked number 3 by the WBA. By the way, our rankings are updated monthly and weekly if there are changes in champions on our website, FightView360.com. The link is right down below in the description box in accordance with the WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO. We even have the Ring Magazine rankings. So Blake is ranked number 7 by the WBC, number 3 by the WBA. He's not ranked by the he's ranked by all sanctioning bodies. So number 7 by the WBC, 3 by the WBA, 15 by the IBF, and 10 by the WBO. And he loses to basically a guy coming off of a 5-year layoff. And Blake, for those who don't know, he was in line to face Joshua Buatsi, likely for a WBA interim title. And you got to imagine that now that's just done. That's down the drain.
That is, yeah. I mean, I understand that the long layoff that Blake's had, but to be bested by a bloke who's had 5 years off that hasn't fought in that weight in how long? When's the last time that he weighed in at 175?
Hold on, let me check real quick. Last time he weighed in at 175 was 2014.
2014, okay.
Yeah, so, but either way, that's still a significant, the guy's coming off of a 5-year layoff, and he hasn't weighed in at 175 in almost, 6 years. No, 6+ years, excuse me.
Yeah, even though Blake did get a bad cut about his left eye, I think early in the fight, maybe round.
Yeah, but still, he shouldn't have been losing to this dude.
That was a very, very poor performance by Blake, and his title shot is done, and I don't think, unless he comes back in a big way, I don't think he's ever going to get another one. So, which is sad because he was one of those, ones that could have got there. I already had a shot. He fought who did he fight? Old mate that Canelo knocked out at 175.
Sergey Kovalev.
WBO champ. Yeah, and he got Kovalev down. He clipped him. He knocked him down the first round.
He fought Sergey Kovalev on HBO.
Yep.
Trent Broadhurst, Isaac Chilumba. I mean, for him to lose to this guy, he fought Andre Darrell. He has a very good resume. Despite losing, the losses, he still has been in there with some credible guys. And to lose to a Faris Chevalier, it's you have to say, looking at the card, it's the most significant loss of the night.
Absolutely, it's in line when Luke Jackson lost to old mate on the Zoo last card. Same sort of story. So, yeah, it's boxing. It happens. But I think Blake. I don't know what's going to happen with Blake, but based on that performance, you think, well, he's got a lot of work to do.
Well, so quick hits in regards to the rest of the undercard. What other fighters stood out, and how did you think of the debut of the Benjamin Bomber guy?
Absolutely, performance of the night. I'll give the kid credit.
Mm-hmm.
He fought his opponent, looked a good 7 kilos heavier than him. I mean, this guy was broad shoulders, in shape, just no fat on him. He looked great. What was his name? The kid that the Bomber fought?
Scott Kelly.
Yeah, Scott Kelly looked in phenomenal shape. I thought Scott would have just knocked him out because he looked like he was built like a brick shithouse. But no, to Bomber's credit, he outpunched him, and he got the fight stopped. He had a bad cut across his face, and they stopped it, I think, in round 2 or 3. So that was the performance of the night, without a doubt. So
what division is he competing in?
I think it's 175.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 175. Pretty sure that's correct. But yeah, he looked really like that was, for my mind, the performance of the night. So, and the rest of the card, just a couple of knockouts, like John Ming got knocked out in the first round, of course. But to his credit, he looked good for his age. He looked in phenomenal shape for a 45-year-old. But just got toppled over, similar to Mundine, same sort of thing. Just got toppled over.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Ingram fought, and to his credit, went the distance. I actually thought he was going to win, but he didn't. So another loss to his record. But the worst one of the night was obviously, I think Stuart Stokes. Is that his name? I've got to bring up the card. Hang on.
Yep, Stuart Stokes.
Stuart Stokes fighting at cruiserweight and weighed in at 101 kilos, which is about 220 pounds for a cruiserweight fight. And yeah, just I don't know how that was allowed to happen, but I mean, a man that's well over 100 kilos fighting a 88 kilo fighter.
Yeah,
cruiserweight.
They probably didn't want to lose, they probably didn't want to lose no revenue on the card, so they said, you know what, we're going to bend, something to get this guy out there, bend the rules a little bit to get this guy out there. So, since we're running short on time, what's next? Well, let's hope that Mundine, Anthony Mundine does the right thing. It's time to really hang him up. He just doesn't have it anymore. It's no need and for him to compete.
He hasn't had it for years.
Yeah, he hasn't had it for years.
Charles Hatley kicked the shit out of him.
His legs are gone, and there's no pop in his punches. He looks old now, and whoever's around him needs to just tell him, like, okay, all right, you got this last payday. We don't know how much he made. It was little to, very little interest in this fight. And it's even crazy that, me, an American, is even interested in this fight. But nonetheless, somebody's got to do it. So I just hope that he does the right thing. He's had a great career. He's accomplished a lot. Majority, I'm going to say, 95%, 97% of his fights have been on pay-per-view or paid.
All but one.
All but one in some, shape or form. He's done enough. Nobody wants to see him get hurt. And more importantly, nobody wants to see him get knocked out like that. That shit is embarrassing, Like, you don't want to see a fighter that you respect, and in regards to their career and think like, damn, like, hang him up.
No, any fighter, as I said, it's not just Mundine. There was, 3 or 4 guys that shouldn't have been in that ring. Not just Mundine.
Yeah.
I mean, with the losses, like, John Ming, 9-30 now. Stuart Stokes never won a fight in his life. So, these fellas, how long will Mundine need to just, go do something else with their lives? So, but, I really hope that Choc does give it away. He's probably sure he will, because let's face it, if it wasn't for Mundine, I want to go on record and say, if it wasn't for Mundine, Australian boxing would have died 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Mundine brought it back to life. It was nothing.
Yeah, he was carrying it, because it wasn't nothing. He was carrying it.
Let's be honest. Without Mundine, you wouldn't have any interest in Australian boxing.
Nope.
You wouldn't have asked someone for Australia to come and work with you, and I never would have had the opportunity to work with you. So that's all because of Choc.
Yeah.
So let's put that out there. Thank you, Choc, because without Choc, I never would have met you.
Yeah, for real. I've been putting in mornings, them Wednesday mornings, and even this last Saturday morning covering the Choc fight. At least I hope it's going to be his last. And it is crazy, like, to look at it and think, like, damn, like, I've been covering him for all these years, and now, wow, he's done. So
it should have been done years ago, but anyway. So,
yeah, but at least he got this last payday, and at least he didn't get hurt. So now he can move on to whatever part of his boxing career, whether he'll go into, I don't know if he'll go into commentary or whatever, hang around, some youth boxers.
Well, they're talking politics, but I hope he stays clear of that mess.
Yeah, for real. I know enough about, Choc to know he needs to stay away from politics. But all right, to wrap the video up, right here on the screen, in 18 days, 10 hours, and 24 minutes, Tim Tszyu is going to be taking on Dennis Hogan on main event pay-per-view. $60 over there in Australia. And the question now is, will Mick Zerafa fight the winner if the winner of Tszyu versus Hogan doesn't get Brian Castano, which is not looking like they will? What's your thoughts on that, Big J? I think it's logical, right?
Yeah, it's logical, but it would be of zero benefit to the winner. He might get the loser, but I don't think he's going to get the winner, because the winner would need another tune-up fight before, because, Castaño's going to fight Charlo. We all know this. It's already written on the wall. The winner would probably take another easier tune-up fight so they don't lose their...
Yeah, true.
Mick's, he'll probably have more chance of getting the loser than the winner. But then again, Mick won't want the loser. He'll want the winner. So I don't see it happening. Maybe late in the year, but I don't know, because I honestly, I think he'll go back overseas.
So the question is, who is Mick Zerafa going to fight then? Well, you know, we're just going to have to see. I mean, maybe. I mean, he does have, you know, connections, you know, in previous fights outside of Australia. So, you know, somebody will call him up, you know, hopefully to be able, you know, to get him a fight if he's not going to get Tim Tszyu versus Hogan, especially if it's not going to be an eliminator. But yeah, I see what you're saying. But since we're short on time, closing thoughts? Wrap it up.
Thank you very much, Choc, for everything you've done for Australian boxing, mate. You've been a legend of the sport, even though some of the dumb shit you said, but we'll leave that for now. But seriously, without Choc, none of us in Australian boxing would be here. So you got to tip your hat to the man, because, as I said, you know, the ripple effect that he's had of his career and made more people than ever get invested in the sport of boxing, not seen since the heyday of the 80s.
Yeah.
You got to give the man credit.
He's even on a video game, Fight Night Champion. You know, the last boxing video game.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think any other Australians, even Costa Tszyu in a video game?
I believe, I don't know. I don't think so. He might be. I don't remember. He might be one of the older ones.
Yeah, well, there you go. So,
all right.
Thanks for all the help, Choc. Appreciate it.
All right. So once again, subscribe, take your time out, like the video. This is TstreeT Controversy and Big J with FightView360.com. Our Twitter links are right down below in the description box. Please subscribe.